But let me just invite Enzo to join us. And Enzo, why don't you, because as I said before, you have so many things to say that you have done. And
the good thing is I have a lot of things. The bad thing is the memory is start going. So anyway, what I remember, I have been in Westchester for 45 years. Mm-hmm. I've been lucky to be in Harrison, to have met years ago Tony Fazio, who was really the person that revolutionized opera in at that time in Westchester. For 40 years, we having opera in a small town in the country. Every year there was an opera. I worked with Tony, assisting him with Mary Riguzzi. We were very diligent. We had to be good because Tony was very tough guy, very serious. And every year we produce operas, some at SUNY College, some at the Harrison High School. Unfortunately, after Tony died, he was working every day of the year on this project of fundraising. We could not raise more funds, but we produce still events, smaller, but more than one. And the Harrison Library has been very kind, and we work together with them. We already had events at the Harrison Library and also in White Plains, and we are going to continue as long there is voice.
Right. And how do you put together these concerts? Are these opera singers that are specialized in a particular type of opera? How do you design those operas? And then you said, okay, this is good. I'm going to be putting this together at the library next month.
Well, in the library, we cannot do bigger productions.
Right.
But with Tony, there was never a limit. And Tony wanted to do Aida. So we did the Aida in Harrison High School. And any opera that Verismo and also other operas before Verismo we did over the years. Tosca several times, and usually popular opera that people will relate to. La Boheme we did several times.
Right.
It was more to please the public than to please us. And Tony knew what the public wanted. And of course, the famous operas, everybody does that too in the opera houses. It was spectacular events.
And when you talk what the people want, what the public wants, is basically the public in Westchester.
Mostly from Harrison and Rye, but then from Westchester County, the place was packed. We filled up the high school, so we started working with SUNY, and we had the operas there. We did Elisir d'Amore, Maestro Coppola directed. Mm-hmm. And Maestro Coppola, as you know, is 101, now going to 102. I'm going to see him on Saturday.
Say hello to him. Say hello.
It's unbelievable. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So he directed that for us. He was wonderful, and it was great. And now we do smaller events at the Harrison Library. So we do smaller for a smaller crowd, and the Harrison Library, they work with us. They have their mailing list because we cannot accommodate more than 100 people at a time, 90 people at a time.
And this fund, you were telling me before that now you are just started a foundation.
Well, the foundation is to support these events,
right?
But also I took voice lessons from one of the greatest singers, Giovanni Consiglio, and
did you bring anything? Did you bring a CD?
I did not bring a
CD.
I did not bring a CD. I'm so sorry, but Giovanni Consiglio, you can look up on the internet. I also have something there, but the idea was to figure out how to sing properly, and Giovanni was the best for that. Very well respected among the tenors.
And I would like to, if you don't mind, to get a little bit deeper in what that means. I mean, because people that don't take voice lessons or that they are not into singing, don't have really an idea of what involves to have a trained voice that is really like training, like playing another instrument.
Yes. I'm getting more and more in love with the art of singing. And so I went to Italy to basically the village of Beniamino Gigli, who was with Caruso, two of the greatest tenors that ever existed. Beniamino Gigli is known in Japan, in China, more than Pavarotti is. I discovered all these things. I'm very good friend with Beniamino Gigli Jr. We did some events together in Italy, in Recanati. So I want to know more about the technique. So I spoke to his relatives, and I found out that Beniamino Gigli was vocalizing the same way that my teacher was teaching me. And I felt a connection there. So, oh my God, this is unbelievable. He's a treasure. Because Giovanni was very humble, very modest. He sang a lot for 50 years, but he never made a big deal out of it. Beniamino Gigli was extremely famous in those days. He died young. And my teacher died, almost 90, but he sang until 80 with full voice. The voice is, then I found out that also yoga used the same techniques. Relaxation used the same technique. So I get more and more interested in this. So I learned how to breathe properly, so much that my diaphragm, you can punch me. There's no problem with the diaphragm, is because I always exercise. Hard. Yeah, I always exercise. As I walk, I exercise the diaphragm. Unless people know to use the diaphragm properly, cannot sing opera or any other thing.
Right.
In other words, any singer should know how to breathe properly. Otherwise, the pressure, instead of coming from the bottom up through they call it mascara, which is a mask, which is the eyes, the nose. Visually, the voice comes from the top of the palate out,
right,
and materialize outside the body. Okay, if it's not done right, the breath is what brings the voice out, and the voice basically is like sitting on the breath as it goes out. This is the visual, and my teacher was telling me that imagine somebody throwing a stone on a lake, and the stone bounces.
Oh, that's such a good analogy.
Yes, the voice is the stone,
right,
and the breath is the water.
Right. That's a terrific analogy.
Yeah, unless it's done this way, people ruin their voices. They develop polyps. They ruin their larynx. They can't even talk.
Right.
So
because they do the whole effort from the throat.
Yes, they use the throat, and the throat should be free from any pressure. Right. The pressure comes from the diaphragm.
The problem, it's and I can say that my own experience, that when you are growing up and you like to sing and you don't take lessons, mm-hmm. that's the natural way that you have to sing until somebody tells you, you better go and take some lessons, right? But if you don't I myself started taking lessons just 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, and, I am not a teenager anymore. So all these years I was actually singing, but not using the right technique. Mm-hmm. Although we have to make a difference here, because if you are singing popular music and you are just using your chest voice, that's a total different story. So we have to go for a break. But I think that what we need to make clear is that there is a distinction between certain songs and opera. And we will, when we come back, we are going to get deeper into this. You're listening to WVOX. This is Livable Cities.